people's obsession with diversity, man, it's an interesting thing. It's something that is very difficult to understand, how some of these false narratives, if you will, get conjured up. But recently, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, BAFTA, they announced that they're going to be introducing a new set of diversity requirements, which apparently comes from the British Film Institute's diversity standards. And what this means, and I'm not going to pretend, first of all, let me get it out of the way. I'm not going to pretend like I just care so much about Hollywood and their awards. There's just a more of a bigger sort of picture that I want to take a look at, because it goes into some of the things that I've talked about on this channel. I'm not even interested in award shows and such. But again, there's a bigger picture. So if you hold tight as we go through some of this silliness, you'll know sort of where I'm coming from. But what they're basically saying is that in order for you to be eligible for these rewards or awards, you have to fit the following criteria when it comes to your film, TV series, production, all of that. And I'm not going to go into all of it, but for example, when it comes to on-screen representation, you have to meet one of these, you must meet, three of the following criteria, one of which talks about lead characters, and it says at least one of the lead characters, contributors, presenters, voice artists are from an underrepresented group. And then you have the total of your secondary or more minor on-screen individuals meet one or more of the following targets: 50-50 gender balance, 20% belonging to an underrepresented ethnic group, 10% LGBTQ plus, and so forth. So basically, what makes this so, let's just call it what it is, dumb, is the fact that they are going to base these films, they're going to use terms like best when it comes to actors, actresses, producers, and so forth. And in order for you to even be eligible for that, you have to fit these sort of arbitrary, like you got to fit these concepts that they just pulled out of their behinds. And that again is weird, because as I've said when I do these videos talking about this, none of that crap matters when it comes to whether or not your film or TV series is good. None of it. Whether your cast, whether your production team and the makeup is 100% one race, 100% another race, or it's mixed, has nothing to do with how good it is. If we're judging this when it comes to merit. And that's what makes this whole thing weird. It's because this growing obsession with this generation and diversity and representation, what has happened is that they have confused diversity, representation, and these elements as like they confuse it as meaning that, or more so they think that that means that this product or human affair is better off if it does have that diversity, no matter how unorganic that it is. And that's the problem, is that when you're dealing with human affairs, when you're dealing with definitely individuals acting in preference, the concept of there being the equality is nonsensical because of that, right? Humans are individuals, they act. And there's so many different things that go into why there may be a human affair that exists that has more or less of a particular demographic. And we're talking about things that are largely in nobody's control when it comes to ethnic background, racist stuff, the people are born with, right? And of course they keep moving it as far as what they consider underrepresented and such. But that has no bearing on whether or not your product is good. In fact, you're basically saying that your product is going to lack. In some cases, when you go out of your way Instead of getting the best people for the job or best people for the position, be it in actors or what have you, instead of getting those people going to where it call, wherever the story calls, whether the job calls, whatever. Instead of going there, you're first trying to get over this nonsensical hump of, all right, well, we got to have a certain race. We got to have a certain gender. And this is unfortunately where a lot of film and TV series and such, they're going to take a hit because they want those awards. So what are they going to do? They're going to fall in line. And they're going to be trying to put together these films and TV shows that highlight diversity over the actual product. Because again, this generation has become obsessed with this concept that, okay, this is better because it has more of this, which is not how it works. Sure, maybe it calls for it. And if it does, then it is what it is. But quite often cases when we're dealing with people that are best for a particular job or going where the story makes sense, it may cause for a particular demographic. Or organically, a particular demographic may be more dominant than the other when it comes to the makeup. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing that doesn't get me. There's nothing wrong with that. Whether you get predominantly makeup, men and women, doesn't matter. It does not matter. It doesn't. It really doesn't unless the story then calls for it. And then that's a completely different thing. But again, the story may call for having, there may be something that black people are more interested in, right? And when it comes to the story, that's what they're going to be more attracted to. It makes more sense to have them a part of that product because of culture. And it is what it is. You cannot sit up here and tell me that there's something wrong with that because there aren't as many white people or something like that or Hispanic people that are part of that product. What kind of crap is that? Again, your product does not become good or it doesn't even become better simply because you thought to get a bunch of ethnic backgrounds or having a particular set of genders assigned to this human affair. But this is where we're going. This is the rabbit hole. We've seen this happen in a lot of different art forms where this is the thing nowadays. People just are so obsessed with this diversity and representation where they're going out of their way to try to get people. And this is the thing, man. To me, that seems like that would be a bit insulting, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem a bit insulting? When it's like, hey, guys, we're going to give you this position because you are of a particular race. Granted, you couldn't do it on your own. You couldn't do it based on your skill set. It's because of your race, because of your gender. And that's the only reason why we're bringing you in. You would have got beat out if we just had something that was just a straight up merit. You would have got beat out. But look at you. You're of this gender. You're of this sexuality. And now you get the job. And maybe y'all won't be offended by that or insulted by that because you just want the award so bad. But this goes back to the fact that your product does not become good simply because you got a bunch of different colors and genders a part of your product. It's completely irrelevant to it. Completely.